Alright, welcome back for the next Flashpoint, the second one of these that I'm running. Uh, this one is one that, as I said, will require some explanation and makes no sense in universe as some of them do. Uh, this one, you are working for a house of the Draconis Combine, which, uh, as they say, the whole thing about honor within the Combine and all this other stuff as they get into an explanation here, and nobody seems to question why a family of the Draconis Combine that has apparently, as it says, been on this planet for generations and is so well established and needs to defend its honor, is on a planet on the periphery side, complete opposite end of the Federated Suns, which is a hostile, perpetually at war with state that they hate. This makes absolutely no sense. Why the hell there is a Draconis family with all this stuff, just like you are somewhere in the heart of the Combine at the opposite end of a hostile state. But whatever. It's still a fun mission. This is actually for the interaction and the setup and how everything goes is actually a pretty well written and well run mission. It just in universe makes absolutely no goddamn sense. But whatever. Here we go.
Interface initiated.
Good to go, Commander.
This isn't the first or last or only time in the game, I will also say, where
Aye, aye.
uh, especially the Draconis Combine,
Roger.
you have a mission or a campaign for them that makes no goddamn sense in universe for why they are where they are or involved in what they're involved in. No, no. It I could see, you could do this whole thing with another aspect of a Federated Suns house, since it's a FedSuns
Location
planet,
confirmed.
and it would make just as much sense. It's not like the only ones that have honor and prestige are the frickin' Dracs, but they had to shoehorn in all the factions, and it just does not make any sense in universe with this. Ah,
Full throttle.
so this first part is your typical ambush a convoy, take out it and the defenders, yada yada. It went by pretty quick at the start when I was talking. Basically, what this is the daughter of the house, the scion of this house, has, according to the mother, fallen in with disreputable people. Uh, I forget. It's House Nakano. I forget the daughter's name, something Japanese.
Ready
And
for orders.
a war profiteer by the name of Karina Luthendorf,
On the move.
which
Full
don't
speed.
trust anybody named Karina. But yeah, it's basically, and then I'll wait to get into the full story because it explains that after this, the other side of the story. But this part of it, you're contracted by the mother to destroy this war profiteer who is, you know, bringing dishonor to your family by her association and da 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 da. Typical samurai Bushido combine bullshit. Once again, you see I'm running my standard heavy lance. For the most part in these flashpoints, unless it calls for real heavy firepower, that's what I'll be
Orders.
using. I find them more fun than assault mechs. Not that just blowing shit up right and left is not fun in its own way, but I have more fun with
Primary
enemies.
target is damaged, Commander. Keep it up.
Enemy.
Okay, there's one of them down. This one, because the vehicles move fast, I move up and focus on the convoy before I take out the escorts. As usual in these, the guards, escorts, whatever you want to call them, are optional to the mission. It's the convoy that's the objective. But as usual, it's easier to just take everything out and end the mission than it is to try and extract. This one's relatively short. Even the two parts of this one, this video is only about a half hour long. There are also, I wanted to point out, there are flashpoints in this game, which I will not be doing in recording. I've run them in the past, and either they make no goddamn sense, and I just don't like running them, or they're set up way too hard. You take way too much damage, way too much loss of pilots and equipment for almost no return. And I'm sorry, I'm a mercenary. I don't care if it's a cool story or something different to do. If it is that much damage to my bottom line, it's not happening. You also have the opportunity sometimes with these, when you take them, when you see the parameters of the mission, to then turn around and say, no, I'm not doing this, I quit. A couple of those I will do just to show you, because there are some of them where, you know, even your crew, when you get given the mission briefing and the option to take it, says, no, we're not doing this. This is way too brutal, way too shady and questionable for us to even think about doing. And I want to show those. Those will be very quick. I might just put them at the end of other ones. Ironically, oddly, go figure enough, most of those come up for House Liao, which is known for being conniving, backstabbing, and completely untrustworthy. But that, I will say, that is very much a stereotype within players of the games, but it is backed in the universe. Unfortunately, because most of the novels and games, if House Liao is there, they are set up to be the comic book level bad guys. So, if you watch the Black Pants Legion videos, Tex quite often will make a comment about stack polling or something being stack polled, which, as he says, is when a fusion engine just goes critical and blows up because it's convenient to the plot to have a massive explosion in the middle of a battle somewhere. Now, when I was coming up in BattleTech and was very active on the boards and forums back in the day, uh, I always thought of stack polling and had always heard of stack polling as when a bad guy or opposition in one of his novels all of a sudden becomes Saturday morning cartoon level incompetent to be thoroughly destroyed and beaten by the righteous bad guys. That is being stackpoled, in my opinion. And that's not a reflection on the author. Michael Stackpole is a wonderful author who has given us some of the best BattleTech novels, but he often is given a plot to work within that the story has to work with, and he is told by the runners and designers of whoever is running BattleTech at that point, be it FASA, WizKids, GamePro, Piranha Games, whatever it might be, that these bad guys need to be a massive threat and then need to lose. We don't care how you make it happen, but these are the points that have to be hit. And he has to work within that, and it usually just ends up that all of a sudden bad guys become incompetent and lose the war or the conflict due to their own stupidity. It's not a reflection on him. But the reason the Capellans quite often have that reputation with old school BattleTech fans like myself is in the first big series of novels that was written in universe as opposed to standalones that has that is the Warrior Trilogy, which is the lead up to and running of the Fourth Succession War, primarily from the point of view of the Davions and Steiners, who are forming into the Federated Commonwealth and being the good guys. The bad guys, the opposition of it, is mostly the Capellan Confederation. This is the war that sees the Capellan Confederation lose like 2/3 of its territory and everything in game. The way it is set up, the Maximilian Liao, who is the leader of the Capellan Confederation at the time, is like Cobra Commander level dumbass in those novels. Like, even if you don't know anything about BattleTech or picking them up for the first time, you're reading these going, my God, this man is a fucking retard. And in universe, he is supposed to be like extremely paranoid and borderline batshit crazy. So it works, but it also sets up going forward that the Capellan Confederation is a bunch of comic book bad North Korea, space North Koreans run by lunatics, which unfortunately just continues on. They're a laughably incompetent
Heavy damage.
bad guy in most of the novels. So that's how the Capellan Confederation, House Liao, among fans and in a lot of these games, is that level of stupid and bad and backstabbing and conniving and untrustworthy. Because early on, that's the way the fluff and the fiction was written, so that's the reputation they've gotten and what's continued going forward. I find competent, almost, I won't say likable, but understandable, believable bad guys to be much more compelling. Like, as much as I might not like the clans, the way they're written in the original clan trilogy, the Lost Destiny, Blood of Kerensky, and all that, they are understandable and I won't say sympathetic, but believable opposition and bad guys. Unlike the bad guys in the Warrior trilogy, it's a much better written. I don't like the clans. There is a clan I do like, but on the whole, I don't like the clans. I am Intersphere. I'm even pre-clan invasion. Nothing against people that like the clans. Nothing against the stuff that's come after. It's just not the portion of BattleTech that appeals to me. I prefer the Succession Wars, lower technology base, you know, houses fighting each other, not space barbarians from,
Location confirmed.
you know, beyond the veil coming in and destroying everything. So space AT&T gives them a slapdown.
Hostile removed.
And I won't even say the clans don't make sense. They're just not something I appreciate. Their mechs are cool, but their weapons and everything are just way too overpowered. I like stuff that's more on par, where you have to win through tactics and outthinking your enemy, not having, you know, one mech
Armor loss.
that has more firepower and armor than the entire force it's running up against, despite being smaller. It just, no, that's not my thing.
Affirmative.
And I understand why they did that. It was actually an attempt to try to speed the tabletop game up, but
Inflicted some heavy damage.
whatever.
Good to go.
Not my thing.
Roger that. Acknowledged.
And I haven't been saying much about what's going on the field here because it's basically just a straight up fight. 4 vehicles, 4 mechs. Take them out. Mission's over.
Warning. Armor low.
Yeah. Engaging. That's a kill.
Engaging.
I'm gonna
physical
punch a
attack.
bug. And look at the size difference. You don't really see it so much in the games when it's zoomed out. But when it's zoomed in, look at the size difference between that Locust and the Marauder. The Locust is what, a 20, 25 ton mech? The Marauder is a 75 ton mech. and the Marauder itself is sometimes dwarfed by some of the assault mechs. So, okay, now we're getting into where it gets the other side of the story. So I will let this go, and I will just offer commentary as it goes because I don't want to distract from this. Basically, she's saying her mom does not know what's really going on, or at least does not want to understand what's really going on, and is offering to pay you double to fight for her and not her mother, which I will say as a mercenary is very, very tempting. But as they point out, this is the Combine you're dealing with, and honor is more important than money to the Combine, which is actually one of the main points of this. And it wouldn't do you good going forward to betray your original contract as far as the Combine is concerned. It would mark you as dishonorable. So, to protect yourself going forward, your reputation, it's a good idea to go with the original. And I gotta say, in universe, both sides of this do have a point. What good is honor if you're flat broke, if you're supposed to be a noble house? But at the same time, in the Draconis Combine, money does not mean as much as your honor and reputation does. So both sides, I think, are right on this one. And as Darius points out, your choice is, do you help their honor or their bank account? You go, I went with honor, and as she points out, honor is nonsense, but it's important nonsense in the Draconis Combine. Which you're not in, you're in the Federated Suns, but
Command
whatever.
interface initiated.
I think this one has one of the glitches that pops up occasionally when I play the game here. But we'll see if I remember right. Oh, what this little mini freeze is. There we go. Yeah, there it is. That's a memory leak issue with this game that I've had on both of the computers that I've played this on over the years. Occasionally you'll have where for some reason it will not load the textures for one of the lances or multiple lances of mechs, and they're just the glowing pink stand-ins you see there. It doesn't do anything to the gameplay. You can still play it. I've had it happen to my mechs. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't freeze. It doesn't crash. It's just for whatever reason it doesn't load the textures. That's usually an indication that that's your last mission for this play. Time to log out and
Roger.
close the program out.
On my way.
I hadn't been playing that long with this one. I don't know why it did it here. It hadn't done it in quite a while. I made it all the way through the main campaign without it happening. Just one of those things. Computers do what they're going to do sometimes. So you're up against the lance of Luthendorf and her bodyguards, I guess you'd call them, which are not that hard to take out. This is actually a pretty easy, straightforward mission, especially with having another lance in
All
support.
weapons committed.
One down already. I think that
Enemy
Thunderbolt
mech
is the one that
destroyed.
is the hardest to take out. She's running an assault mecha Zeus, if I remember right.
Commander. Firing.
So that notice, if you watch and pay attention, that is a different loadout of Thunderbolt than you usually run up against. There's, I think, 3 variants in this game. There's the 5S, the 5SE, and the 5SS. That's the 5SS. The 5SE is the 5S, but with jump jets added, which is an Aerodani Light Horse, very prominent mercenary units variation on it. That's what I have Medusa running now. I retired Glitch's 5S and brought in a 5SE with some modifications to make it more of a close-in brawler, and that's what I have him running. When I lost Glitch, I figured, in universe it wouldn't be a bad idea to retire her mech, so I brought in a different one.
Reporting light damage.
Oh, an Irby. I won't even start talking about the urban mech here. I'll have another mission coming up where I get to talk more about that because you have to are forced to run a lance of them. I'll talk about them then. Urban mech is one of those things that has become extremely popular among the fans that I don't understand why, but whatever.
All weapons committed. Enemy mech. Critical damage detected.
Hey, Thunderbolt's down. Now we got the Wolverine, and I think, as I said, I think a Zeus, because she's hiding off to the side there.
Heading out.
Yeah, I think it's after this mission that I go in and do some serious modifications to my mechs. I put ER or pulse weapons on most of the energy stuff, and I start swapping out regular heat sinks for double heat sinks to make them a little more time in the fight before they overheat. So they got some good fights coming up, and I want to up my ability to deal with them. Also, I like in this is when you get into the Flashpoints, more things are available in the store, including some both lost tech and never heard of before weapons. And it actually addresses that in the Flashpoints and comments on that, and it gives you a reason for where they're coming from, which I think is a neat touch. It's not just that you've unlocked all these things. There's an actual in-game universe reason that all these things are now popping up in the store, which kudos to the writers for that. It would have been very easy to just ignore it and say, oh, you've unlocked all these things. But they did a really good job with making it make sense why all of a sudden more stuff is available in the stores. Which the next Flashpoint I do after this one will be getting into that and explaining it, so I won't touch on it here. I'll just say it is a very, very cool idea, very good way they did it. As I said, very big thumbs up, good job to the writers of this for making it a, not just something that happens, but something that is actually remarked on and addressed in the game as to why it's happening. You don't see that often, and I thought it was a very good touch.
All weapons committed. Enemy mech destroyed. Warning. Heat critical. Shutting down.
I think that is the first time I've ever had that happen with the Marauder running these missions.
Waiting for orders.
I have my Marauder set up to be pretty heat neutral. I think that was when I decided it was time to start editing my stuff for the fights that I'm getting into, because I've got to fight too hard for what I have. And I don't want to have to start running assault mechs on everything if I can help it.
Roger that. On it.
Okay, Zeus is lagged.
Critical hit.
which takes away its evasive, takes away an initiative, and makes it so that I can target it without having to use points for it. Specific called shots, that is, targeting.
Receiving you. Confirmed. Confirmed.
If I remember right, because it's been a few days since I ran this one, I'm targeting her legs, because even though in the mission it counts as killing her, if I remember right, I'm targeting her legs because I'm looking at it as I have no reason to actually kill this person, so let's just take the mech out and end this. Even though in the game for the setup of this mission it counts as killing it, I'm looking at it as in universe, you know, I have no reason to, so why headhunt? Let's just take them out and get this over with. Plus, I kind of want to salvage that Zeus.
Receiving you.
I don't remember if it works, but that's what I was trying to do.
I copy.
Get all leggy.
Reporting. Critical hit.
That's one that is a very good mech that I have very bad luck with, is the
Ordnance
Grasshopper.
received.
I should love that thing, but I never do love it.
Critical hit, Commander.
Maybe I'll get one and run it in missions just so I can talk about it, but that is a very good mech that I have very bad luck with. Trying to decide what I
Receiving
want to
you.
do here.
Position confirmed. Locked on for physical attack. Scored a critical hit.
There we go. Yup, she's done. I ended up killing her.
Enemy mech destroyed. Mission
My honor.
successful.
Yeah, sometimes with the ridiculous honor stuff, the Draconis Combine is as bad as the Klingons in Star Trek. It can get very annoying if you're not a fan of the Dracs, which I'm not. I don't hate them, but I'm not a fan. At least they reconcile at the end of this, because you don't have to kill either one of them. As far as these missions go, this is about as heartwarming as the ends of these usually get. And there you go. A actually satisfying end to that one. As far as you go, you didn't really lose anything out of it. It didn't really cost you anything. You completed the mission. You did what you're supposed to do, so the MRB is happy. And both sides kind of ended up satisfied. So there we go. You don't really get much out of it, but I got a Wolverine. Other than that, have a good one. Please give a like and subscribe, and we will see you next time. Later.